Welcome back to Bullyball, a San Francisco 49er podcast. We're 2 days away from the NFL draft, 3 days away from the 49ers selecting at the current moment, pending any trade or something crazy happening. And we're going to dive into our guys in the NFL draft that we want the 49ers to draft. So tune in and let's get into it. Who's your first guy? We're starting on offense. We'll go quarterbacks first. Let's dive right into it.
So quarterbacks are tough, just because obviously we're not really in the market. I would say personally, and a big name out there is DTR. We've kind of mentioned it on this channel before. Uh, DTR has been a hot name, somebody that we've met with 3 times. Versatile guy for sure. Can run the ball, has pretty good passing. His stats have been pretty good. I think he's like a 4 year starter.
5 year. I think he's a 5 year
5 year.
starter.
So he has a lot of starting experience in college, but I think you're gonna have to probably spend around a fourth or third, fifth, like 3 to 5, somewhere in that range for him. And personally, I'm not willing to do that, but I figured I would just throw his name out there for us. Who's somebody for you?
Yeah, so I have my list of guys in my quarterbacks. So I have a list of my players that I want, whatever, and then I have my sleeper picks. DTR is my only draft this guy. I don't know, fifth round, sixth round, probably not earlier for me. Um, so some of my guys, I have sleeper picks. One of them is Clayton Tune from Houston. So let me go pull up some clips of him, see if my computer will play him for you guys today. But Clayton Tune kind of gives you vibes of like a Brock Purdy style of quarterback. Um, look like let's see if we could get some videos to play of them. All right, looks like this is the internet we're getting today. But pretty accurate guy. Um, he's pretty athletic for his size. He's literally kind of like the Brock Purdy to me of this class. You know what I mean? Not super athletic, not the biggest arm. He's a winner. Can do everything pretty good. Nothing like insanely good. And you see the arm there, not bad arm talent right there, if you can see that. But that's one of my guys. Another one is Holton Ahlers from Eastern Carolina. He's a bigger guy, but he is lefty. So I don't know how he would fit on the 49ers. I just was watching Keaton Mitchell, the running back, and you see Holton Ahlers making crazy throws all the time for Eastern Carolina. And let's see if we could get some plays shown here. Looks like, it is what it's doing what it does. But Holton Ahlers, he's a big quarterback. I think he's like 6'5". And yeah, this dude makes throws. He's lefty. He won MVP of 2 All-Star games. I believe it was a Hula Bowl, and I forget what the other bowl was that he won MVP of in the pre-draft process. But really talented guy, probably an undrafted dude. And most of these quarterbacks I'm listing are undrafted dudes. Who's your next guy?
So it seems like for Holton Ahlers, kind of like Carson Wentz, big quarterback. I think Carson Wentz might have even been a left-handed guy too. I'm not too sure, but he was huge, from a smaller school. Um, so I don't really have any other quarterbacks unless you want to mention others, but we can move on to running backs if you want to.
Yeah, so just one other guy I'll mention. The person that told us about this guy was Emery Hunt when we had him on the podcast. If you guys haven't seen that yet, check that out. But Todd Centeio is his fourth ranked quarterback in the draft class. And this dude, he's just under 6 foot, I believe. And so he doesn't have the height you would prefer for a quarterback, but he makes all the throws. He can run the ball. He's not the fastest guy, but he's a good runner of the football. And he makes all the throws the 49ers like over the middle of the field when I was watching film of him. Let's see if we could get some here. Here's one play of him at is this at the Senior Bowl? I think that's a Senior Bowl, correct? Or NFLPA Bowl to
Yeah,
tight
that's
end
not the
Ben
Senior Bowl.
Sims.
That's the I think the NFLPA. No, that's not the
Yeah,
Shrine Bowl
so
either.
that's a throw to Ben Sims, a guy the 49ers have interest in at tight end. But let me see if I could get another clip. Yeah, let's see this clip here. Let me see if I can full screen it. But dude be making some nice throws, NFL level throws this past year at JMU. And so that's another guy I wanted to mention. And like I said, 49ers probably aren't going to draft a quarterback unless some movement happens. So I just wanted to list some free agent type of guys that I would pick up.
Yeah, definitely some good guys that can compete for depth, practice squad spot because, the 49ers are already going to go into the season more than likely carrying three quarterbacks. Obviously, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, and then you're probably going to need one for the practice squad. So, maybe one of those guys can make it to us down there.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so moving on to running backs, you know, I think one person that we both like a lot for sure is Israel Abaconda.
Yes.
Um, Dude is very fast, kind of has like shades of Raheem Mostert, that type of speed. You know what I mean? Like, dude can make an impact. And the 49ers need that because they did have that with Elijah Mitchell, but obviously he's been battling injury problems for since he's been in the league, really. So not really reliable in that area. Obviously, you have Christian McCaffrey, who's also pretty speedy, but he doesn't have break the world type speed. You know what I mean? Um, Israel Abakanda though from Pitt, that's a guy that can. Hey, he has that home run speed for sure, and he can take it the distance if you need him to, as we can see in that clip right there against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, definitely. Dude has home run speed, and I believe he has prototypical size as well. I believe he's like 5'11", 210 pounds or something like that. Um, I don't remember what the 40 was, but I believe it was like low 4.4s, maybe high 4.3s. But yeah, like you said, you hit it on the head. Israel Abaconda is a guy, you know, and that. So tell me this: would you take Israel Abaconda in the third round? You're muted.
Yeah, that's tough. Person, I probably not because we already have Christian McCaffrey. We mentioned Elijah Mitchell. You have J.P. Mason as well. Those are three. I mean, you have an All-Pro caliber running back in McCaffrey already, who's going to be the bell cow, and then Elijah Mitchell and J.P. Mason should be able to split the rest of the reps by themselves. Hopefully, if you work in JP into a little bit more of a timeshare with Elijah Mitchell, Elijah can avoid some of those injuries that he's been dealing with. Um, and I think those three give you a pretty good balance of speed, power, a good balance between those two. So I'm not going to not waste, but I'm not going to spend a third round pick on Israel Abakanda.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not using a third round pick on a running back this year. Um, when I was evaluating running backs this year, there are certain traits you like and certain profiles you like of players, right? For me, in this draft class at running back, I wanted someone with game breaking speed, which is like Israel Abaconda that you mentioned, or I wanted someone that was a complete back like Christian McCaffrey that, once the 49ers had him, they never took him off the field because nobody else on the roster can do what he does. And you're not going to draft somebody that could do exactly what Christian McCaffrey does, right? But you can get someone that has the receiving ability like Christian McCaffrey. So then you can run the same style of plays without, oh, you're bringing in Jordan Mason, you're going to run the ball. You know what I mean? Where you're kind of giving away what you're going to do. Um, so with that said, one of my running backs that I have listed is Kenny McIntosh or McIntosh. I don't know how you say it, from Georgia. Terrible pro day metrics, combine metrics, whatever you want to say. I believe he was in the 4.6s, on the 40. But the dude can catch the ball like a receiver, and he played at Georgia, and you see him breaking away from people in the open field. So I don't know, if there's a difference in the game speed versus the 40 speed, but Kenny McIntosh is a guy, and I'll try to pull up some videos for you guys, but he also is a great pass blocker, as a running back. But the 49ers, we talked about this earlier, they don't really have the running back stay in and block. Maybe that changes if you get a guy like McIntosh on the team. And then go ahead and jump to your next guy while I try to pull up a video of him.
Did he have he came out of a split backfield, right? At Georgia, he wasn't the bell cow starter.
No, but he did end this past season, I believe, with like 800 yards rushing and like 500 yards receiving.
Yeah.
So he still put
being
up.
being in a split backfield could definitely help the 49ers because obviously it's going to make him drop a little bit. So, that could be a guy that we look to target in the later rounds if he's there. One of the running backs that I am a big fan of is Chase Brown out of Illinois. Let's pull up my screen here.
Hold on,
this
before
guy.
you do that, let me get up this clip of McIntosh while you talk about him. Here is the Senior Bowl.
Chase Brown, extremely productive throughout his college career. He had 1,000 yards in 2021, 1,600 yards in 2022. Another impressive thing, too, is this last year he had 27 receptions for 240 yards, and in the 2021, 14 receptions for 142 yards. So he's able to catch the ball as well as run it extremely efficiently. Let me share this. You guys can see that?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously looking at his PFF profile right here. So zone grade, 79.3. Obviously they're running a zone scheme at Illinois. He was second in zone attempts, which is pretty good. Missed tackles forced, that's a big one. He like menaces in the open field. He had 83 missed tackles forced in this last year, tied for fifth. 935 yards after contact. He's not going down in the first hit. 23 carries of 15 plus yards, extremely, extremely impressive. And he had a 4.43 speed as well. So he has that speed. He's a little bit smaller, 5'9", 209. But, like it says here, where he's going to win, he's going to be a speed guy. And like me and you said, we want somebody who has that home run speed that can kind of take it the distance. And he definitely has that. One thing he does have troubles with is fumbles, though. So he had five as a running back, one as a receiver. I think he had like 800 and something carries, and he had like 8 fumbles. So that's something to watch for. But he has speed. He can take it the distance, and he's not going down on first contact because those stats tell it all right there. So
yeah,
Chase Brown, one of my guys at running back.
Yeah, I really like Chase Brown as well. And the reason we say we don't want a running back in the third round is we probably have about 10 running backs on our list of guys that we like for the 49ers. And that just goes to show you, you could get them late, undrafted maybe. You don't have to get them early. And so some of the other names we have, I'll just list them off, maybe say a thing or two about them. Keaton Mitchell from Eastern Carolina, I mentioned him when I spoke about the quarterback. Another game breaker, tiny guy, but game-breaking speed. Dwayne McBride from UAB. This dude doesn't fit with all the other prospects we have on here. Like I said, we like the game-breaking speed or the complete back. This dude is just a bulldog. Like, he's gonna bully you. He bounces off people. He trucks people, but he only has like 4 receptions in his career. So we just really like him as a player. And then some sleeper guys we like: Evan Hull, complete back, great receiver. Chris Smith from Louisiana Lafayette. He was actually Elijah Mitchell's backup, and he's another 4-3 running back that's probably going to go undrafted. The 49ers might have already seen him. So, and then another guy is Ronald Awatt from UTEP. 49ers met with him at the pro day. He's kind of he kind of gives me Jeff Wilson vibes. If you remember Jeff Wilson coming out of, I believe it was North Texas, he gives me similar vibes to him as a player. And then the last one to mention, guy we had on the channel, Ulonzo Gilliam, complete back from UC Davis. He can do anything you ask him. He can make plays. The speed shows up on the film. Might not have showed on the 40, but you see it on the field against Division I FBS teams. And so those are some guys to look for, when you guys are researching players.
Yeah, definitely. Especially Yolando Gilliam, local guy. So there is a connection there. He said that we met with him, that Bobby Turner, running backs coach, sent him a text after his workout. So, it's all there. The proof's in the pudding. So I think we'll at least bring him in for a mini camp invite at the very least, if not a priority free agent signing.
Yeah, most definitely. And then we'll move on to wide receivers. So, who are your guys, at wide receiver that you're really interested in this draft class?
One of the guys, me and you kind of talked about him a little bit. This is somebody that I've been extremely interested in because he has running back receiver versatility. It's Jalen Moreno Cropper out of Fresno State. So, he's one of the better route runners in this draft class, in my opinion. Pretty fast guy as well, ran a 4.4. So, he has that speed. Let's see, looking at some stats here. So his freshman year, he was a big factor on the ground. He had 20 carries for 344 yards for an average of 17.2 yards per carry and 3 rushing touchdowns. Obviously, he had like a little bit under 200 receiving yards that year too. But that goes to show, he has that running back versatility, which the 49ers like players who have versatility at all positions, no matter where it's at. And then moving on to, this next year, for 2021, he was second team all conference in 2021. He led Fresno State in receiving at 85 receptions for 899 yards and 11 touchdowns, playing with Jake Haener as well. And then he had two touchdowns on the ground. And then last year, he led the team once again, broke 1,000 yards receiving. He had 1,086 yards and 5 touchdowns in 14 starts. First team all conference. So Jalen Moreno Cropper is definitely somebody who I'm interested in. I think the Niners should be interested in too because, like I said, he has that versatility. He's a little bit smaller, on the smaller side. Let's see. He's 5'11", 172, so he could probably put on some weight for sure. But he has that speed already. He played in the slot in 2021, and then this year he's mainly playing outside, so he can play in slot or outside. And like I said, he has that versatility to run the rock as well. So Jalen Moreno Cropper is my guy at receiver.
Yeah, really good route runner. When you watch the film, this dude is crafty with his routes and is great at getting open. So I would like to see him on the 49ers as well. My guy that I'm going to go with here is Xavier Hutchinson. Don't know why the dude is getting like literally no draft buzz leading up to this NFL draft. But 6'2", 203, long arms, 31 and a 3/8 inch arms, and he ran a 4.53 40. Not the best, but not the worst at that size. A good 1.55 10-yard split, 36-inch vertical, so he has that explosiveness. And he's just a player that knows how to win it in route. And he played with Brock Purdy. So if you're giving Brock Purdy the reins to the franchise, show him that ultimate leap of faith by going and getting his guy from college as well. And I think that is like the ultimate sign of like, hey, we're handing over the keys to the car. We went and got your guy. It's time to lead us. And on NFL, for his analysis, they say perimeter wideout whose catch production has been bolstered by a heavy target rate and a variety of short catch and run throws. Hutchinson has good size, but average speed and ball skills force him into a lot of contested catch situations. He has the track record of a late bloomer, showing improvement in his play from year to year and even month to month. So, dude that's only going to get better in the NFL, and give Brock Purdy his guy that he's comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely somebody like you said who's being slept on for some reason. I don't know why, because he's definitely put up the numbers. Yeah, it could be that security blanket for Brock. If it came down to it. Obviously, he'd still be a super good receiver though for Trey Lance as well. Whoever's going to be the starting quarterback, Sam Darnold even.
Yeah, and I think one of the underrated things about him is he's a good blocker. He has good size, he's a good blocker. The 49ers love that. Who's your next guy?
So do you want to stay on receivers? Or do you want to go on to tight ends?
Yeah, we'll do one more receiver each.
So one of my receivers that I like, and I know a lot of people like as well, is Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. But the thing with Jonathan Mingo is if he might not even be there at our third round pick, but if he is, are you going to be willing to spend a third round pick on a receiver when you already have Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Juwan Jennings is back this year, Ray McLeod, so your receiver room's already kind of stacked. But, depending on who's on the board, I would probably be willing to take Jonathan Mingo. Ole Miss receivers have been proven to produce in the league. DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, just two off the top of your head, right away. So looking at his PFF profile here, he had a 78.6 receiving grade this last year and a 76.6 grade versus man coverage, which is one of the higher percentiles out of all college receivers. So that's what you want to see. He's able to separate against man to man. Let's see. Only had 8 missed tackles forced. You wish that was a little bit better. But overall, he had 51 receptions for 861 yards and 5 touchdowns. So he never broke 1,000 yards receiving in his career. But the dude, he's 6'1", 220. So, this thing says, he's running back build. That's unique in this class for sure. And then he showed serious improvements as a route runner. So Jonathan Mingo, definitely a guy that I'd be interested in. Ran a 4.46 40 as well. So he has that top end speed for his size too. And that's somebody who I'd definitely be interested in if he's there at third round. Because I don't think we're going to be able to keep Brandon Ayuk going into next year. So we might want to get ahead of that now before it's too late.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, Ole Miss, they're kind of a wide receiver factory now. And it's not just a wide receiver factory. They put out monster wide receivers for some reason every year. So love him. Another guy I want to mention, probably an undrafted guy, sleeper pick. He was at the 49ers local pro day. I wish Jalen Moreno Cropper was there because he could have been, but he wasn't. But his teammate Nico Remigio was there. He's a 5'11", 183-pound slot receiver. Um, I got his 40 time here at a 4.55. You don't love it. But as we know, these slot receivers, they just got to be crafty and find a way to get open. Strong guy, 19 bench reps. Um, and then his stats here for you this past year. In 2022, he played 13 games and he had 69 catches for 768 yards, an average of 11.1 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns, and an excellent QB rating when targeted of 117.2. And prior to that, he played at Cal. So he was a 1-year transfer, 1 year at Fresno State with Jake Hayner. Before that, didn't do much at Cal, but then he broke out this year. And his strengths on his scouting report are his competitiveness and knack for high pointing the ball allow him to play bigger than his size. And he's a savvy, natural pass catcher with reliable hands and very good focus. You turn on the tape, the dude wins at the line of scrimmage. He finds a way to get open. And as a slot receiver, the 49ers in past years have loved those small dudes that find a way to get open. Trent Taylor. Who was that dude that went off on the Giants this past year that we had?
Um,
Richie James.
yeah,
And then I believe there was one other player that the 49ers had at one point, but seems like that
Dominguez.
type of guy that, yeah, he seemed like that type of guy that's going to get a camp invite because he was at the local day. And I think he could possibly make the team off of it.
Yeah, definitely. Fresno State out there putting out receivers, man. Jake Hayner, who knows? Maybe they made Jake Hayner look a little bit better than he actually was. We'll
Yeah.
have to see. Um,
So, you want to list off the guys that we have listed, the rest of them, say a couple words.
yeah. So the other receivers we have are Dontavion Wicks. He ran super fast for his size, right? At the combine, I believe it was. So that's one of those home run hitters. Obviously, we have Fotis Coco Sluis. Is that how we said his name? Solis or
Yeah, something
something?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, that could be another guy like Joseph said. Can make it off a camp invite or something like that. Um, you have Grant DuBose out of Charlotte, I believe. He was
Yep.
also somebody
Charlotte
that's been
49ers.
kind of rising up. Malik Knowles. You have Nico, Remigio, like you said, and then C.J. Johnson and Isaiah Winstead are some of the
Yeah.
guys that we
So,
like.
Deuce Watts as well. Deuce Watts from Tulane, really slept on dude. Tulane was great this year. And the running back, I forget his name off the top of my head. Everyone's talking about the running back.
Tajay Spears.
Yeah, Deuce Watts, pull up his film. This dude was ripping balls off of dudes' heads. Like he was winning against everyone. Great player, good late round pick. Um, Malik Knowles is a straight up yak guy. He's a kick returner and he's a yak guy like the 49ers love. Casimir Allen is like 5'8", 180, but he's a running back wide receiver. So he was a running back, converted him to wide receiver at UCLA this year. And, stats aren't that great, but he has home run speed. So the 49ers, I believe they had him for a visit or they met with them somewhere. And then CJ Johnson and Isaiah Winstead are both receivers at Eastern Carolina. So when I was watching the Holton Ahlers and Keaton Mitchell film, you see the two receivers going off. I believe they didn't have great numbers, their combine numbers, but look like really good receiving options, maybe undrafted guys or something like that.
Yeah, definitely some guys to keep your eyes on for sure. Moving on to tight end. One of my tight ends that I'm interested in for sure is Luke Shoemaker out of Michigan. So, he's a fifth-year senior. He's already 24 and a half years old, kind of coming in a little bit older like George Kittle did. but Kittle's getting up there in age, so we're going to need to find his replacement pretty soon. Luke Schoonmaker, though, this last year he kind of busted out of nowhere. He came in with 35 receptions, 418 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a 78.7 receiving grades, which put him in a very high percentile. Some downsides to him, this is maybe why you could see him in 5th, 6th, 7th round. 28.6% contested catch rate, which put him well below the median percentiles for tight ends in college last year. And his run block grade was 55.7, which put him right there in the middle for the most part. But PFF says Shoemaker is NFL ready inline tight end with the gear that makes him capable of running away from linebackers. Caught 35 balls for 418 yards and 3 scores in 2022. So he's 6'5", 251, and he ran a 4.63 40 that put him, pretty high, 84th percentile among tight ends in the draft this year. His 3-cone drill was 6.81 seconds, which put him in the 95th percentile at his pro day, and his broad jump of 127. What is that? Maybe centimeters, meters? I don't know.
Probably meters if it's on meters, maybe.
Yeah, so that put him in a super high percentile at 97%. So, super good guy. Obviously, he's going to need to develop a little bit, but like we said, you have George Kittle, so he's going to have that time to develop. But he could be a legit receiving option for this team. Kind of something that we've been missing since Jordan Reed almost was on the team, you know what I mean? Because I don't think Ross Dwelly, even though we brought him back for some reason, I have no idea why. It makes no sense to me. I was saying to get rid of him last year. But yeah, Ross Dwelly, Croft, right? Croft was the tight end that got Brock Purdy hurt. So I don't think those guys are going to make it too much. So Luke Schoonmaker, that's my guy at tight end. One of my guys. I have another one.
Yeah, and I like him as well. I haven't done much film review or anything like you have, but when I'm looking at tight ends in this class, you want a guy under 4.7 in the 40, just because in the NFL everyone's fast. And I know 40 times don't mean much for every position, but I feel like for tight ends, you want to be under that 4.7 range so you have the speed to beat linebackers and safeties while running your routes. So I like that one for you. My guy is going to be Will Mallory from Miami. So numbers for him: 6'4.5", 239 pounds, ran a 4.54 40, 36.5-inch vert, 10.1 broad jump. So the dude is explosive. Let me see. I have a clip here that's playing. Hopefully it'll stay playing. See if we can see this clip. You see him here, and he just burns. You
Yeah,
could
it's definitely what you want to see. Kind of reminiscent of Kittle when he gets to the open field.
Yeah, so the speed shows up on tape. Dude has legit, game-breaking speed for a tight end. I believe that's pretty much a similar time to what George Kittle ran, if I'm not mistaken. I believe George Kittle ran a 4.55. So similar speed,
Yeah.
good size. Could work on his pass blocking a little bit, but you have George Kittle. So, perfect person to learn behind. Who's your next guy?
So my next guy, this guy is going to be definitely a late round pick, maybe even undrafted. But it's going to be Braden Willis out of Oklahoma. This last year, he had 39 receptions for 503 yards and 7 touchdowns. He didn't run a 40, I don't believe, at either his pro day or the combine. So, a little sus there. I don't know why he's trying to bail out on it. But, his stats are good. He had an 80.3 run block grade this last year, which puts him in the top percentiles out of among all college football tight ends. So that's extremely impressive. Another thing, like I said, the 49ers love menaces in the open field. He had 15 missed tackles forced, which was tied for fifth among all college football tight ends this year as well, with 78 deep yards, which ranked 45th. So this guy, receiving threat is there. Um, Also, he's an extremely good blocker too. Run blocking. The Niners love tight ends that can block. So that is definitely a plus for him. And yeah, that's my guy, Braden Willis.
Yeah, you've done a lot of work on Braden Willis. I haven't watched him much, but I like what you're saying about him. And you said undrafted range for him. So, you know, I like it. I think he had a pulled hamstring or something at the combine, and that's why he didn't run, if I remember correctly. But my next guy, kind of I don't really know where he's projected to go, mid rounds, maybe later, but he breaks what I had just told you. I said I want a guy that's under 4.7. He ran exactly a 4.7. But that's Brenton Strange from Penn State. He's 6'4", 253. He ran a 4.740, 36-inch broad, or a vertical 10.4 broad. So pretty good explosiveness for him. But he's a player that just plays with that tenacity that the 49ers like at tight end. He's a dude that he's going to block you until the whistle blows. He's going to drive you into the ground like Kittle does to people. Obviously, he doesn't have all the intangibles and stuff that Kittle has, but he plays hard and you see it on the field. And I think that's a good backup tight end. Don't think he's going to become your starting tight end anytime soon, but really, really good backup. And when you're getting them later in the draft, hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, definitely. I know that's somebody that has been pretty high on 49ers boards. Matt Mayoko kind of wrote an article about how he fits just so perfectly with the 49ers. So definitely somebody to keep your eye on in this draft for sure.
Here's a clip
Kings
that's
fans can
playing.
rejoice. Quick side note: Kings fans can rejoice. De'Aaron Fox is playing tomorrow in Game 5. Quick little side note for you.
It's sad because Kings fans can rejoice, but at the same time, he's playing hurt with a finger that's going to probably mess up his jump shot, unfortunately. But it's good to see him still getting out there. Hopefully, they could get a win.
Yeah,
But here's a
don't count
route
on it.
by Brenton Strange. Here he is blocking on the outside. If you saw him there, here he is in route again. All right, and that's all we're getting. I gotta get my other computer set up. It's gonna be set up tomorrow. So
Yeah, some other tight ends that we have listed as our guys. Zach Coots obviously is a guy somebody people are huge on right now. He ran a super fast 40 for the tight ends. Great size, super tall. So that's another guy. Tucker Kraft as well. But he might be gone. I'm going to say he's probably going to be gone before the 49ers first pick in the third round. So that was one guy. And then some late round sleepers. Somebody who me and Joseph kind of discovered out of the blue, Princeton Fant, a tight end out of Tennessee. Uh, he looked pretty impressive with the ball in his hands. So that's something to keep your eye on. And then you have Lachlan Pitts, Julian Hill, and Josh Wiley. So those are some guys to keep your eyes on. But like we said, keep your eyes on Princeton Fant. That is somebody who had looked extremely impressive on tape.
yeah, he's a smaller dude. He's like 6'1", 240. So, really short for a tight end, but this dude did everything out of Tennessee. Good blocker, good receiver. I believe he even took some snaps in the Wildcat. Really impressive player. We liked watching him. Probably an undrafted dude, but I think he could possibly make a team. And the other guys you mentioned, you know, deep sleepers. We'll see if they make teams, but they're guys that we liked on film. Heading over to the O line, um, my first guy that I want to mention is a guy that I really liked when I first saw him on tape. He was a left tackle in college, um, but I believe he played right tackle in 2021, and that's Braden Daniels, tackle from Utah. A lot of teams are kind of saying they think he's going to play guard in the NFL, but Emery Hunt, when he was on the podcast, he has him as his number one rated tackle in this draft class. And he's going to probably be available when the 49ers are selecting in the third round. Guy I really like. Um, yeah, that's my guy at tackle. I would like the 49ers to draft in the third round.
Yeah, definitely somebody who's interesting for sure. Utah, had an extremely successful season this year, Pac-12 champs, I believe. So, yeah, he definitely contributed to their success this year. My guy at O line, and seems to be most of everybody's guy as well, is Blake Freeland. The 49ers are probably going to have to move up a little bit if they want to get their hands on him. But let's look at his stats here. Looking at PFF this last year, he had a 90.9 overall grade, and he had an 87.3 run block grade, which put him in the highest percentiles against other tackles in college football. 90.7 pass block grade, again, highest percentiles in college football. Zone grade, 90.2% or 90.2 grade, which is once again put him in the highest percentile for college football tackles. And then he had a 77.8 true pass set pass block grade. So that's obviously, they're passing the ball for sure. And he had a 77.8. So he played mainly left tackle in college, but I believe he would be able to transition over to right, if you work at it over the offseason. So what they have his role as a swing tackle outside zone scheme. Perfect for the 49ers. That's exactly what we need. Bring him in, and he can compete right away with Colton McKivitz for that right tackle spot. Where he wins, his feet. You know what I mean? He's going to win with his feet. How fast he can get out, get in front of people. Where he can improve, play strength. He's going to be very reminiscent of Mike McGlinchey, who gave a lot of 49ers fans headaches. But I believe if they can get their hands on him, they can develop him a little bit, let him work with Trent. I think he can be the starting right tackle for the 49ers going into the future for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, really similar to Mike McGlinchey. He did play right tackle at the Senior Bowl. He had an up and down week there, but you're playing the best guys in all of college football there, so that's expected. Um, my second guy that I'm going to mention is Jake Witt, who we had on this channel. You guys, if you haven't watched that interview, go check it out. From Northern Michigan, was a basketball player in college, turned into a tight end, and then he became the left tackle for his team when injuries forced him into the tackle spot. But he's 6'7", around 300 pounds right now. You want to get him into the facility. He has, just one season of starting as a left tackle. Get him in the building, get him in the strength room, get him on a diet program, not a diet, but he needs to put on a good 15 pounds. The dude had a RAS score of a 9.68 out of 10. Insanely athletic guy. He's just a ball of clay. Perfect guy to get behind Trent Williams for a year and let him just learn. Not play at all, just learn behind Trent Williams. Would love for the 49ers to pick him up, but every team in the NFL has met with this dude at this point. So we have no clue where he's going to get drafted now.
Yeah, when we interviewed him, go check out that interview. It's an extremely interesting interview, very insightful. But he said some teams gave him like a fourth, some teams gave him undrafted. So it's going to be tough. If you do draft this guy, in the later round, You're not going to be able to put him on your practice squad because, as Joseph said, he's met with every team in the NFL. They're all interested in him. And, one line that he said that kind of stuck with me was, he was at the, what level? D2, right?
D2.
D2 level. So he said, imagine the resources if somebody gave us the resources that these D1 guys have, all the nutrition plans, the workout equipment, the training coaches, the position coaches, everything. Imagine those resources if they gave them to us D2 players. Imagine what we could be. Because we're playing at this level now, but imagine if those resources were given to us. Imagine what we could be. And yeah, like Joseph said, give him a year to get up his weight, get up his strength, just get up to the NFL speed. I believe that he could be a future starting tackle for the 49ers as well.
Yeah, definitely. Who's your second guy?
So my second guy here, I'm probably going to take him from you because I know you're probably looking to mention him, but Wanya Morris out of Oklahoma. This is somebody that you showed me, and he was extremely impressive. A very athletic guy. You can even look up his tape, and he's getting out in front of dudes. So he's 6'5", 307. He ran a 5'1", 40. So that's pretty fast. It's up there. Looking at his scores, 76.9 run block grade, 81.4 zone grade. Played right tackle, has played some left tackle in his career as well, so he has that versatility. PFF says he has the movement skills and length of an NFL tackle and shown intriguing development over his career. So, Wanya Morris is a guy to keep your eye out for, probably in that third round area as well. So, yeah, Wanya Morris, my guy at tackle.
Yeah, and we noticed Wanya at the Senior Bowl. This dude was dominating everybody, in one-on-one reps. Um, really athletic, and I think all the guys we mentioned except Jake Witt, so Braden Daniels, Blake Freeland, and Wanya Morris are day one starters at right tackle for the 49ers if you get them. Some of our other guys, we have Nick Saldiviri, 49ers fans love him. He can play every position on the O-line, so he's a good depth piece. Chandler Zavala, he's a left guard, kind of that I just zoned out his name, Aaron Banks build at guard, but super athletic. This dude gets out on pull when he pulls, he's super fast and he takes people out. Really good player. Probably, I feel like he's going to go a lot higher than people think. I think he might go in the second round, but we like him. Asim Richards, Earl Bostick, and Kadeem Telford, all tackles that, show developmental traits, some you could work with late round guys, try to get a backup or maybe a swing tackle out of. Kadeem Telfer is like, I think he's 6'7", 340 or something. We were looking at him, dude's massive, not really the 49er style at tackle, but the dude's so big, he's going to get in people's way and keep them out of the way. And then our last guy is City So, the offensive guard from Eastern Michigan, correct?
Yeah, Eastern Michigan, yeah.
We noticed him watching the combine. Dude was super athletic. And then you turn on the film, and Eastern Michigan just ran behind him every single play. The dude was so athletic. He moves people. A great guard who I also think is probably going to go a lot earlier than people think.
Yeah, definitely. City So is definitely somebody interesting. Could bring him in for some guard competition if you wanted to. Uh, yeah, he ran a 5.0740 yard dash at 6'5", 323 pounds. So that's pretty insane. And he had a 1.8 10-yard split, which is pretty good because I think the area you want to get around for that 10-yard split is around 1.75 or lower. If you look that up, a lot of the offensive linemen, I think tackles specifically, if they have that 10-yard split, at least like 80% of them are successful in the NFL. So that's intriguing for sure from him.
Yeah, and now we're moving over to the defensive side of the ball. We do have a lot less prospects on defense for some reason. I don't know why, but we'll go through this one a little faster. So edge, we know 49ers love their edge prospects. Who you got?
So this is my pound the table prospect. This is my prospect that I think is going to outproduce where he is drafted by a landslide. Jose Ramirez out of Eastern Michigan. Turn on the tape of this guy, and he is just a true pass rusher, following in the footsteps of Max Crosby, also from Eastern Michigan, also was taken in a little bit of a later round. Um, Jose Ramirez, he gets after the quarterback. He's 6'2", 242. He had a 4.73 40, 90.5 pass rush grade this last year, 91.8 grade true pass rush grade, 21.5 pass rush win rate as well. So this last season, 88.3 overall grade, 10 sacks, 7 hits, 33 hurries. Year before, 10 sacks, 3 hits, 23 hurries. So he's getting after it. It's not just a 1-year production. He's done it over multiple years. So Jose Ramirez is my guy. And I think the Niners could get him if they wanted to, in one of the later rounds, probably like the fourth. I mean, we don't have a fourth round pick, but if you trade it up, you could probably get him somewhere in that range, I would say. That's
Yeah,
my pound the table prospect. So remember that name. We'll make a clip. We'll put out my pound the table prospect and Joseph's. That's who I think is going to outperform their draft position by a landslide.
yeah, and he's a little undersized, but when we talk about pass rushers, for me, I like a guy that he already knows his pass rush moves. A lot of these guys go into the NFL and they just bull rush or they just win with speed. They don't know how to hand fight. They don't know how to counter when a tackle does something to them. And those are the guys that bust out. They go in, don't get any production, they're a bust. Jose Ramirez wins every single way you could think of. And he might even slip into that third round. Who knows? We'll see. But great player. Um, my first guy is my top prospect at pick 99 for the 49ers. Could go before that, probably does. But if he's there, I take him. That's Byron Young, not the interior D lineman, the edge rusher from Tennessee. Dude is literally a screaming image of D Ford. 6'2", 250. D Ford for the 49ers was 6'2", 255. Byron Young ran a 4.43 40 at 250 pounds. This dude is a pure speed rusher off the edge. Looks like D Ford. Maybe doesn't have the bend that D Ford does, but this is what the 49ers have been missing. The athleticism is insane. I bet you that 40 time is very similar to D Ford's as well. The only issue with him and the reason he's probably there at pick 99 is he's going to be 25 years old starting his first NFL season. So he's a way older prospect than what you're used to getting in the NFL draft. But he plays hard on every play. Probably not going to be a 4-down starter. You're going to use him like you would use D Ford. And I am totally fine taking that guy in the third round.
So D Ford actually ran a 4.53 40, and then Byron ran a 4.43. So 0.1 seconds faster, which is a huge difference in the 40. And one other problem is he doesn't have the best production at the college football level. Obviously, he played in the SEC. He had 9 sacks last year and 7 the year before. His overall grade dropped in 2022 as well. So, that could also help out the Niners, just making him drop a little bit further down the boards. So
Yeah, and
that's
like
I think that's both of our consensus, you know, first overall prospect at pick number 99 if he's available. Because I'm totally
and
on board with drafting him as well there.
And like we said, the reason the grade's probably low, you're not getting a run defender. Like,
Yeah.
just get that out the way right away. He's not a 4 down player or 3 down, whatever you want to say. He's a pass rushing specialist.
Yeah. And it's something that I would always say last year was if Nick Bosa's not getting pressure, it seems like the whole D line is just not getting pressure. So Byron Young instantly comes in and helps that problem. Same with Jose Ramirez, as we mentioned earlier. Some other guys I'll mention real quick, say little things about them, just so we can keep this moving. We're already hitting 55 minutes. Viame Fehoko out of San Jose State, a local guy. This dude's a menace. He has an insane motor, great at rushing the passer as well. Definitely somebody that you would want to bring in because he kind of sets that tone, has that mentality, that dog that you need. So Viame Fehoko is a guy. Is Isaiah McGuire out of Missouri, another good guy possibly there, probably in the pick 99 to hundreds. Um, you have Lonnie Phillips, B.J. Thompson, Titus Teo, Thomas Income, Nick Hampton, as well as there was another guy, Herbig, out of Wisconsin, I believe.
Oh, Nick
Who,
Harabig.
who, yeah, who knows where he's going to play, but he was an extremely successful pass rusher in college.
Yeah, and Vilemi Fehoko is my pound the table guy. The dude he's a 3 down starter in the NFL, crazy motor, plays his ass off, and he doesn't have any pro day numbers or anything because I think he had an injury, but that could have caused him to fall to maybe the 5th round. Take him.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at the interior D line, kind of run by these a little bit quick as well, just because our interior D line is kind of set. One guy that I'm extremely interested that we could get maybe 6th, 7th round, maybe undrafted, Dante Stills. He's out of West Virginia. He had an extremely successful combine. Definitely opened a lot of eyes, improved his draft stock, but I think you probably still get him there in one of the later rounds. Who's a guy that you would want to talk about?
Carl Brooks from Bowling Green. He was a 300-pound edge rusher who's going to be a D tackle in the NFL. He blew up the Senior Bowl. He was dominating everybody on the interior. Going to be a great player. We have Ikena Inichiwoku, Dejuan Johnson, Calvin Avery, and Celestin Haba are our other players that we have as sleepers. Late round guys that could get some pressure from the interior for you. Moving to linebackers, another position that we're pretty much set there. We have a couple guys that we like. Marte Mapu, every team likes him in the NFL. He killed it at this Senior Bowl. Tore his pec though, so that may cause him to fall a little bit. He was a safety in college. The 49ers love those safeties that convert to linebacker. Who's your guy?
Yeah, Marte Mapu kind of could be like a Fred Warner type guy. Fred Warner also kind of played like a hybrid role in college. Same thing with Marte as well. We also have Aubrey Miller out of Jackson State University. He was extremely efficient in college, hard hitter. He's kind of more of a downhill linebacker, but somebody to keep your eye on. And then we also some of our sleeper guys. You have Trevor Nowowski, who we interviewed on this channel, so go check that out. An extremely athletic guy, had one of the best pro days that you could have. Definitely increases draft stock there. You have Drake Thomas, and then Mohammed. How do you
Diabate or something like that.
Diabate from Utah? Somebody that the Niners already met with as well. So those are our linebackers.
Yeah, and Diabate is another guy that was kind of like that safety linebacker hybrid. He was at Florida, transferred to Utah, so he's played at the highest level. Um, Going on to our cornerbacks, we have almost none. We've done almost no work on corners this year for some reason. Some of the guys we have Riley Moss. You know, obviously he's a white cornerback, so everybody counts him out. But the dude is great in zone coverage, and he is a great athlete and a ball hawk. I would love to see him on the 49ers. Who's your guy?
Yeah, I'll say Robert Carter. One of the guys that we interviewed. Definitely a sleeper, late round pick, probably priority free agent. But the guy was a baller at the D2 level. Great athlete, great character, great ball skills as well. So could come in and compete, if not make the practice squad. So Robert Carter for me.
Yeah, and then some other guys we got Corey Trice Jr. He's starting to catch a lot of steam. A lot of people are mocking him to the 49ers in the third round. And then Travius Hodges Tomlinson from TCU. He's LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew. And the dude he's only like 5'8", but he's explosive as hell. Ball hawk, a slot player in the NFL, but I think he'll excel really well there. And then moving on to safeties, who you got at safety?
So safety, there's a lot. I kind of looked at Jamie Robinson out of Florida State. That guy we'd have to take with one of our third round picks, but extremely impressive, very athletic. He can play in the box. He's a aggressive hitter as well. That's one of my guys at safety, as well as Daniel Scott out of Cal. Could be a later round pick, local guy, ball hawk, always flying around the field, crazy athlete. So those are my two guys at safety.
Yeah, I like both of them a lot. My two guys, I got Jair Brown from Penn State, ball hawk. I think he had 6 interceptions this past year. Good deep player, playing the deep field. Um, and Jason Taylor from Oklahoma State. He's a guy that's being slept on, probably a later round guy. Tons of ball production this past year at safety. Some other guys we got Quindell Johnson from Memphis. He's a good deep safety. Sidney Brown from Illinois, probably one of my favorite players in this draft. He's going to go probably early second round, though, but love the player. You have Brandon Hill and Eric Hallett, who we interviewed on this channel, the two safeties from Pitt. Both really good players, going to be really good players in the league. Jatavius Martin, the other Illinois safety, he could play both safety slots and cornerback. And then JL Skinner from Boise State. I think he tore his pec as well, so that may cause him to fall a bit in the draft. But, those are all the players we have. You have any kickers you want to mention real quick?
Yeah, obviously, I kind of started the train, at least on this channel, for the NC State kicker Christopher Dunn, I believe is his name. The most accurate kicker in college football by far. Jake Moody's a popular one, but Christopher Dunn was still hitting 50-yarders. I know Jake Moody hit that 159-yarder that everybody's going crazy about, but Christopher Dunn still has a good leg. And like I said, he's the most accurate kicker in all of college football. So that is the kicker that I want the 49ers to draft for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one. If you guys are still watching, we appreciate you. Please go check out all of our prospect interviews. We did 6, I believe it was, this off season, and
7.
was it 7?
Yep.
7, and we enjoyed all of them. All great people. We wish them the best. And let us know in the comments who you want the 49ers to draft. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. See you next time.
Yep.
Send it back.